Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick little video today. I am going to just, I was looking around my collection and I'm like, we all have our favorites and they're our favorites for different reasons. So I'm going to go through and do my top 10 favorite Stephen King books. And these are just actual stories, not collections. So it's just, his actual books. And they're my favorites for different reasons. They're not necessarily his best works, but they have a special place. So number 10, and starting in order from 10 down to 1, we've got the Tommyknockers. Now, I know it's not one of his most beloved stories. A lot of people don't care for it. It's one of his forays into science fiction-y. It's not the best. It's not one of his favorite ones among fans, but it's got a special place in my heart because I remember reading it in high school, me and my friend Jerry, about the time that the miniseries was going to be on TV with Jimmy Smits and, I don't remember her name, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, so I have really fond memories of it. Me and my friend Jerry, we were both reading it, and then we'd compare notes every morning. I've mentioned him in some of my other videos, so that was always cool. It had a special place in my heart because of that. And to be honest, I actually like it. I like the Tommyknockers. I like the concept of, these aliens influencing people, and taking over this town in such a subtle, creepy way. I also like, the little hints in there, like, when they were in going to Derry to get batteries, and somebody actually sees Pennywise in the sewer drain. And they hallucinate a clown in a sewer drain, and they're in Derry, so it's Pennywise. So I'm like, that's really kind of cool. So yeah, I do like the Tommyknockers, so I give that one a solid 10. Now I heard that they're probably doing a remake of it. I haven't really heard where that's going, so I'd be okay with them doing a remake on it. I have faith in them doing it. I think they could do it really well with today's technology. Uh, Random thing about the miniseries about the Tommyknockers, the alien outfits were actually originally the design for the cat creatures in Sleepwalkers, but they didn't use the design, and they actually decided to go with a different design for Sleepwalkers, and they kind of recycled it for the Tommyknockers. So those kind of long-faced aliens are kind of what the cat creatures were going to look like in a Sleepwalker. So I thought that was kind of cool. So then number 9 on this one, again, not one that gets a lot of love in the King community, but it's got a special place in my heart. It's From a Buick 8. Now, I used to actually have the long, like, advertising, like, kind of, it was like a copy of the cover. It was a long, like, signage that was in bookstores when it first came out. Unfortunately, when I moved, I did lose that, but I have seen them online, and I may replace it at some point in time. But the reason this one has a special place in my heart is because I remember taking a trip from, I believe we were in Watertown, going down to Nebraska to visit my grandparents. And my sister had read it and had it in the car. And I didn't have anything else to read, so I picked it up and just started reading it. I hadn't even heard of it at that point in time. And I was a King fan, but I wasn't like a diehard King fan. I didn't know everything. Still don't. And so she had that book, and I started reading it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It made that trip way more enjoyable. And so it's got a special place in my heart, even though it's not necessarily his best writing. But I like the concept of, this car that's basically a portal to another dimension. So, that I think is just kind of cool. So it's got a special place. So the next one is an interesting one because I love it, but I also hate it at the same time. I've only read it once, but it disturbed me so much that I really never wanted to go back and read it again. And it was Needful Things. And the reason it disturbed me so much is, just all the backstabbing and the gossipy sneakiness that, Gaunt gets everyone in the town to do against each other. It like literally made me feel anxiety in real life, which, perfect. That's what an author wants to do, is that, you want to, make people feel stuff. But it was to the point where, I liked the story. I liked the concept. The movie, I enjoyed that with Ed Harris, The Last Castle Rocktail, Needful Things. I really enjoyed that. I honestly think they could redo it now as almost a series, or maybe even a limited run series, and possibly do it really good justice. But yeah, I don't think I would ever read it again. I did like the story and I like the concept, but just the anxiety it made me feel is I I don't have the desire to go back to it. So, but it's still, because I had that reaction to it, it still makes my top 10. Then we have number 7, which is going to be an interesting one. Again, I have memories of this one in high school, reading it with my friend Jerry, but it is Gerald's Game. And when it came out, we read Gerald's Game and Dolores Claiborne, right next to each other, because they both take place during the eclipse, and they have those interconnecting kind of similarities in the story. But I really enjoyed the idea. Just and it's another one that I will never probably read again. And it's that degloving, the scene, but that just, it had that visceral response, which is exactly what, an author is wanting to do. And I mean, I still remember it to this day, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the story, and, I like the Netflix adaptation. I know it wasn't exactly the same. But I mean, how do you adapt a movie where it's like, most of it is in the person who's chained to the bed's head? I mean, the way they did it with the flashbacks and stuff, I thought they did really well. I enjoyed it. There again, I haven't gone back and rewatched it since I watched the first time, and I don't know if I necessarily would. But the actress in that, I don't remember her name, but she was also in the Huntington Hill House, which was weird because I believe was the husband also in that. I might have to go back and double check that, because I thought that was weird that they were both in. Anyway, but love her as an actress. Really enjoyed it. Next one. Now we're getting this one. It has a special place in my heart just because of the uniqueness of it. And when it came out, I was actually working in a bookstore. And for this one, we have number 6, The Green Mile. And the thing about this one is the way it was released in the serial format. That was kind of a gimmicky thing that King did, or his publishers, I guess, did. Whoever came up with the idea in the 90s, I want to say 96, 90, right in wherever it came out. But it was kind of interesting because then after he did this, I know John Saul came out with a serial like that, Black House, Black something. I don't collect John Saul, so unfortunately I don't know. But so I thought that was kind of cool that he kind of started a trend like that. And my sister also had started reading it before I did, so she gave me I borrowed the books that she had, and I just really enjoyed it. And then, of course, they made the fantastic movie with Michael Clark Duncan and Tom Hanks, The Green Mile. Love that movie. That's one of those movies where, if it's on the TV, you can turn it on, and no matter what point it is in the movie, I'll sit down and start watching it. That and The Shawshank Redemption. I don't know what it is about King's prison movies, but, they're amazing. So yeah, The Green Mile, I love that. So sad Michael Clark Duncan passed, but I always thought he was a great actor as well, and a lot of all the stuff he did. He always had such a presence. Can't imagine why. So the next one is going to be the Dark Tower series, and it's the entire series together, because throughout the entire series, there's ones that would be ranked higher and then ones that would be ranked lower. So on average, it's about the middle of the road for me. I love some more than others. Drawing of the Three, Wizards and Glass. The first time I read the Dark Tower series, I was a little upset at the ending. No spoilers, but you know what I'm talking about. I was really angry. I'm like, how can you end it like that? But now that a few years have gone by and I'm thinking back on it, I'm going through it. I'm doing another Journey to the Tower right now. Only I'm listening to it, doing audio, not reading it, and I'm discovering that I actually think I like the concept better now that I've got some thought in it and some perspective, and maybe a little more maturity. But yeah, I discovered that I'm thinking I do enjoy that a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to getting to that point again. So those who have read it know what I'm talking about. So there again, the Dark Tower series. Then we have number 4 for me, which also kind of ties into the Dark Tower series, but I have fond memories of this when I was a kid, because I remember reading this again in high school, and just the concept of it was something I loved. The Talisman, the ability to travel between worlds, just thinking about it, flashing back and forth, and travel quickly. You go to one world, run a little ways, go to the other world, and suddenly you're several miles away. Love that idea. Definitely love how it ties into the Dark Tower series, later on a little bit more in Black House. But Talisman, I think they're doing an adaptation of it. I don't know who's involved. It seems like the story keeps changing. I remember several years ago, 10 years ago at least, there's even a video clip of a supposed preview or fan made that was supposed to be, TNT was going to pick it up and it was going to be a series, but it never came to fruition. But it was a really good, I don't know if it was fan made or actually made by a studio, but it was like a little preview of it. Excellent. You know, it showed Jack standing in the window, and then his uncle, or the bad guy pulls up and gets out of the car and looks at him, and then it like flashes to the twinner, and it's like flashes back, and it's like it was really cool. But anyway, yeah, so Talisman, love it. I think that'd be really cool. They could probably even do something like that in a series type of format. I mean, even if they branched off on it, I think something like that would work. Something on like an Amazon Prime or HBO maybe. But yeah, King is a hot commodity right now, as always. So the next one, number 3, again, has another special place in my heart because this is actually the first Stephen King book I ever read, or tried to read, I should say. My mother had a few King books in her collection, and I was always fascinated because they always had such cool covers. And she, like this one and Night Shift, and this one is actually Firestarter. So, and it had this cover on it, with the flames, and just loved it. And it was early '80s. The movie with Drew Barrymore was on like cable at that point in time, but it was a newer release, so it was whenever that would have been. And anyway, I had this in my collection, in my mom's collection, and I had picked it up, and I got a couple chapters in, and I just couldn't do it. I was too young, so I wound up not reading it. But I came back to it, years later, and fell in love with it. The character of Charlie, her interactions with the older couple, love it. Rainbird, what a fucking asshole. So definitely one of my favorites. So that's why it's in the top 3. And then the next 2, they kind of flip back and forth from which one's my favorite to second favorite. So right now in this order, it is going to be the second favorite one is It. Now, again, this one I got from my sister, and this is the cover I love the most, right, with the claw coming out. Again, I got this one from my sister. It was about the time when the original TV miniseries was coming out, and she had read it, and she had it, and so she loaned it to me again, and I read it, and I enjoyed it. I think one of his greatest books, in my opinion. That's why it's in my top 2. Granted, it's got a couple flaws in it. There are some scenes that we really didn't need, and you look back on it and you're like, why is that in there? But I really have enjoyed both adaptations. Actually, I guess there's 3, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I enjoyed the '90s version, the remakes, part 1 and 2. I really enjoyed, and apparently there is a Indian version that was made as a TV series that was a remake of the U.S. It TV series. And I'm going to look and see if I can find that online because that might be kind of fun to watch and see the Indian take on Stephen King's It. So I thought that's kind of cool. There's been 3 adaptations, or 4 if you count the part 1 and part 2 as a separate one. I consider it all together. But so It, one of my favorites. And again, as you can see, in my collection, you've seen my videos before, hopefully, that It is a big part of my collection. Lots of Pennywise, and the turtle and Mid-Turin, and it ties everything together. I just think that's so cool. The Dark Tower, It, and my next one all kind of come together. And my next number 1, and right now, if you've seen any of my videos, you can probably guess what it is. It's The Stand. And of course, I've got fond memories of this one. Again, my friend Jerry and I, we were reading it together, and he was reading it and I was reading it at home, and then we'd come in the next day and we'd talk about it at school. And we started getting in fights because we couldn't figure out, like, what are you talking about? That's not in my book. No, what do you mean? I'm on this page. Yeah, I'm on this page. That's not what's happening. Well, it turns out, there was the the edited version that was originally released in '78 or whenever it came out, and then the unedited one that came out in the later '80s. And I was reading one and he was reading the other, and that's why it wasn't matching up. And it took a while for us to figure it out. So I've read both versions of it. I've read now when I go back and reread it, I always read the one that has all of the parts in it. I like that one more. It feels like a more complete story to me. But yeah, huge fan of both the '90s miniseries, as well as I did enjoy the newer one. Yes, they changed some things up and moved things around. Was it perfect? No, but for a King adaptation, it was good. Did the ending necessarily land? No, but again, for a King adaptation, it was pretty good. Um, so yes, I am a huge fan of The Stand, and you've seen my videos. I've got a lot in my collection. I recently just added a laser disc to it as well, so getting all of that. So yeah, again, that's my top 10 Stephen King books. Some of them have unique reasons for being in my list. We all have our favorites, and we all have them for different reasons. So I hope everyone else is staying safe and that you keep reading. And if you have any comments or want to include a book that you think should have been in my list, or you have your own list, share it below. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.